we make the sound of the satellite, breaking through gravity. I am Jagger 67. I'm affected, you're selected. I want you with your twisted hair and your lip ring stare.
When people think of motorsport in Germany, the Nürburgring is often the one that comes up first, but Hockenheim is its own special gem as the ISR AIC returns since Season 2 for round number 6 at the Hockenheim Ring. And we got a good one for you today, folks. It is going to be a fantastic race as the championship. We are halfway now, and every point matters here. And so far, Elliott Hall is the one that right now is the person to beat. But anything can happen, and it's probably going to change between now and the end of the racing season, folks. Hockenheim Ring is going to be good, but joining me in the commentary booth for the first time, making his commentary debut, is Jonathan Guerrero. John, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Zach. Really excited to do this race. A little bit about myself. First time doing this, but a little nervous. But, we should be getting good racing today. Really excited to see what this pole position lap's going to look like. And we should be getting into it really soon, shortly.
All right, we're going to hand it back off to you now, John, as we're going to take a look at the pole lap from, of course, Zach Swader. So, John, take us through a lap around Hockenheim.
All right, here we go. So the pole lap started out. We're going to get a good little start. Standing right down the front straight here into turn 1. A nice little right-handed kink. He's going down. He's heading straight down to Parabolica. He's going to slam on the brakes, carry some nice momentum through this corner. Gets back on the gas. A little left-hander here. A little off the gas. Keep going. Setting it down. Hockenheim Ring is a very, very fast track. A lot of sweeping turns through. Carry enough speed. And here we go to the sharp hairpin now. He's carrying a very good line through that hairpin. Gets on the gas right at the right moment. Going straight down the straight. Let's see what he can do, or he cannot lose time. So a little kink here. He held on to it very well. Do a little braking here. Keep it going. Keep it going. Ooh, little wobble there, but he maintained it very well. Now we're going down this back straight. A little right-hander, carrying a great momentum through the corners. Now here we go through a little complicated section here through the corners. A lot of sweeping left-handers here. He's going through a little right, another right here. Going through, carrying great momentum through this speed. This lap is amazing. And now right down to the front straight and past the line and right back to you, Zach.
All right, thanks, John. Here, as of course the starting grid, of course Zach Swader takes the pole, but on top of that, it's an all NLR lockout as his teammate Craig Evans secures second place. So this will be the first time that these two will start first and seconds since Zach has joined NLR at the end of last season. And Cantwell Elliott Hall, the championship leader, hoping to gain some ground as we go into the final few races. He starts in 4th position, so he's going to maintain a lot of points as he can to try to stay ahead of his rivals. Reinhard Eckerl and Douglas Anderson come up the next field. Dougie trying to recover a bit of his season. He hasn't had the best of season so far. He's wanting to do some recovering, but Reinhard Eckert is going to be in front of him. Andrew Revere and Marcus Townend is starting 7th and 8th. Andrew, it's been up and down in the season, but Marcus, coming off of a good season last season, hasn't really been anywhere this season, but hopefully he can go somewhere. Josh Martin and Gareth Lennon going to round up your top 10. Josh, as well with Gareth. Seasons have been mixed so far. They're going to be looking for some recovery time right here. Jack Tolchard and, of course, Toby Byrne are going to be 11th and 12th. Toby actually gaining some momentum here toward the end of the season, and we're going to see what he can do with the rest of this race over here. Colin McAllister and, of course, Joshua Wood, who had an amazing start to the season earlier, has kind of fell off a little bit. He's going to be looking to maintain some ground, hopefully in today, as he's had a couple pole positions so far. Kevin Jacobs and Olaf Odben going to be 15th and 16th into this race. They've had some mixed season bags as well throughout this season, and so we're going to just see how they do. And another one that's been kind of losing momentum has been Colin Spencer, and behind him will be Philip Blum, looking to make some recovery as well. 19th and 20th is going to be Jonathan Carrero and Christian Razaloff, the reigning champion. starting in near dead last. Christian Razloff, along with Zach Swader until today, has had a miserable season. And of course, we had an LR front row lockout. We have a last row Maka Motorsport lockout as Tom and Craig McDonald are 21st and 22nd place, respectively. So as the cars are going to be forming up to the remaining of the grid, we got 16 laps to do this here. This is, like I said, the first time that the ISR AIC has been here since season 2, and Josh Martin was crowned that season's champion. So here we go, the lights forming up, and it's a lights out, and away we go. Trying to find some grip is everybody here, but it looks like Zach Swader is going to get a little bit of a jump on his teammate going into the first corner, as Craig Evans is going to slide in behind him, but he is going to be followed by Elliott Hall, who goes from 5th to 3rd in just the start. What an amazing start for Elliott Hall as he is trying to gain something for his championship hunt. As you see, Reinhard Eckert and it looks like Gareth Lennon are going side by side, but it looks like, no, that's Douglas Anderson beside him as they are coming side by side through the sweeping left-hander, as the field is going to be spreading right, and we already have some VSC, so something must have happened toward the back of the field. We'll have to take a look and see what happened here, but wow, a little bit of a clean start, John. That's something that's very rare that happens to make, as Marcus Townend seems to have retired, John.
Oh, that's such a shame for him. It's just the beginning of the race. It's really hard, you know. It was a little chaotic start, but we see that's probably what caused this like very chaotic start. But with the virtual safety car, hopefully, you know, we get a little bit back in order. We'll get this race going. It looks like it's a green flag now. Handing back to you, Zach.
All right, back under racing now is a little bit of a kerfuffle. Oh, it looks like somebody just got spun. That was Kevin Jacobs, just got spun around there on the restart. Don't know who that was behind him. It looked like one of the Castrol machines. It looked like it, but we're on board now with Philip Blum. He's going to go side by side with one of the McDonald's brother car. They are making a little bit of recovery after having a dead, pretty much 21st, 22nd place start, as they're trying to move their way up the field at the moment. So, yeah, everything kind of spreading about now just a little bit as we take a look at Andrew Revere right behind Douglas Anderson and Reinhard Ecker. A little bit of a train forming right now, so everybody's starting to spread out. Hockenheim does do some good racing here, but, you know, Formula One hasn't raced here since 2019. And so, especially the AIC, we haven't been here since season 2 back in DTMs. So this is the first time that these guys have tackled this track in open wheel cars. So everybody's going to be trying to find the pace, find the grip, and hopefully make some momentum stick. But I tell you one thing, John, if there's one thing we're looking at right now here is that gap that Zach Swader is forming on his teammate, Craig Evans.
Yeah, so almost a 2-second gap, it looks like, on his teammate. He's really pushing that car today. He looks like he's got the momentum. He's carrying it. He's sweeping through these corners. He's going really, he's doing really well. But here we go with the replay. Let's see what happened to Marcus. Well, he gets a good jump, and let's see what happens. Going down the straight, he looks to be fine as he's going through into the first corner. It looks like, just a bad spin. Then it doesn't look like he damaged the car really much, but who knows? Ooh, another secondary collision. I don't know who that was. You can tell me who that was, Zach, and we can figure out what caused this like horrible accident now.
Well, we're on board now with Gareth Lennon, as we should see a good instance from the point of view of him. It's going to the first corner as we take a look, and yeah, there goes Marcus. Gets spun out for the car in front of him. Don't know who that was in front of him. It looked like Kevin Jacobs. I couldn't tell. But here's what happened. It looks like possibly, I think that was Colin Spencer, that what you saw with that end of the collision. So trying to find some grip as everybody just got a very slippery start. And going into the turn, he gets collected. It looks like one of the Macca cars. He just gets tangled up into the checkup and gets sideswiped by another car. I couldn't tell who that was. And he says, somebody hit me, check for damage. So he's still going at the moment, but he's probably got some damage here. But yeah, he got involved in everybody checking up for Marcus spinning out. And here's the onboard from Tom McDonald, as he, of course, with his brother, started right behind, dead last behind everybody. He's going to try to make the move on Spen and just... Don't know what happened there. Don't know if he was trying to stay off the curbing, but ends up going into Spen and just shoved Spen out wide. So that's just what happened there with Tom McDonald. So very chaotic start. Auburn now with Christian Razaloff. See his point of view. And there goes one of the McDonald's cars. And more checkup. Everybody checking up, trying to avoid Marcus. And yeah, it was Christian Razaloff that pretty much annihilated Spen. He's like, yeah, I hit him on there. He had nowhere to go, which, to be fair, he did have nowhere to go because everybody was playing checkup to try to avoid the spinning Marcus Townend. So very chaotic start. We're now with Craig McDonald. Let's see what happens here. Okay, I think this is what happened here on the VSC restart. So this is actually coming into the hairpin. This is the slowest corner on Hockenheim. And here we go. We're lying alongside Kevin Jacobs. And yep, he just completely misjudged his starting point. I don't know if Kevin didn't get a good jump on the gun or if, he was just a little too antsy, but not to say he's probably going to get a little bit of investigation for the stewards there, John.
Yeah, it looks like they're reviewing the collision right here. Let's see what he gets. It's going to be considered a racing incident, or will he get a stop-go penalty? Let's see what happens. I mean, the racing's getting really good. We're on board with Gareth Lennon. He's going by. We'll watch his lap. He's keeping the pace very well. Hockenheim's a very challenging track. It's been since 2019, like you said. Everyone's trying to get their grip here and see what's happening. It looks like they're still reviewing it on their investigation. Let's see. For McDonald Jacobs. So let's see how that one plays out. We're on board now. We're following Toby Byrne. He's following Gareth Lennon very closely. Let's see this battle for his place go. He tries to make a dive down the corner, but he just couldn't quite make it on the braking. But, let's see if he's going to keep that intensity going, see if we can get him in the next couple of corners. And back to you, Zach.
Yeah, definitely. Toby, he's trying to make up for the season right now, but he's in the points right now, and he's falling behind, of course, Gareth Lennon, and he's trying to get some championship hopes at some point. He's had a bit of an up and down season so far, but I think he's just now starting to get his footing right now, as currently Toby is sitting 11th outside of the current standings, so he'll be wanting to try to make up some ground, but we still got a few more races after this, and so it's definitely still some time to try to get a win, hopefully get some good finishes, because Toby, he's got a lot of talent, a lot of hard work, not even just outside of the AIC. He's won in some of the ISR Gran Turismo leagues. He's a winner in, of course, Norral. As we got a penalty coming away here. This is probably going to be through some of the incidents that we've seen here. And there we go. 5-place grid penalty for the next race for McDonald. I believe that is Tom McDonald, I believe, the number 14 car. One of them, I believe. So one of the McDonald brother cars is going to be able to get a penalty for this one. Then that was for the incident that happened toward the start of the race, I believe, or the one that happened with Kevin Jacobs. So that's probably not going to be the first of the penalties that we see here, but we also going to have a no further action, and this is going to be Town and Purveyor. That's going to be the racing start. So obviously everybody too close together, a lot of chaos, everybody checking up, so nothing doing for that one. So everybody just trying to find their own momentum through the start of the race here. But so take a look at now at Christian Razaloff going behind one of the McDonald brothers cars. Christian, who won the championship last season, has not been on his best of form, and just like until today, Zach Swader, the two guys that had a chance to win the championship, and one of them did, has not been doing great this season. This has kind of been their downfall, so to speak. But as we take a look at another racing incident between McDonald, Razloff, and Spencer, another racing incident happened as look at Christian Razloff having a little bit of a nose wiggle toward the front of that as he recovers nicely. But seems like the stewards are kind of being lenient for the first start there, John. So we'll see if any other penalties come out through today.
Yeah, they just classify it as like racing incident. It doesn't hurt to penalize every single incident that happens on track. They took their time. They really took a few laps to really get their choice down and see what they were going to penalize everybody, and it came out, really clean. So, we're on board now with Craig McDonald, back at 17th, he's just, trying to get through. But now, we move to Josh Martin. He's moving quick in that Simstaff car. Ooh, it looks like he's catching up to, it looks like Toby Byrne. He's trying to put the pressure on him through these corners. It's going to be a nice little fight, it seems, between, Lennon, Byrne, and Martin today. Let's see how this rolls out. Let's see who takes these points at the end of this race. But, back to what we were saying earlier, Hockenheim has been, a very unique track, and the way they carry these momentum through these corners, they're just trying to find grip, but, by now the tires have been warmed up, they're, flying through these corners, and, these battles are going to be really good too. Back to you, Zach.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing about that is, of course, we're on lap 5, even after the VSC, the tires, they're going to be coming up to temperature just now, even having a brief, VSC stint. So the tire temperatures were going to be coming off low here, but they're starting to recover now. So kind of running through the field right now. Of course, Zach is still in the lead of his teammate Evans by 2 seconds, and Elliott Hall is about 3.5 seconds behind Evans. And, we talked about as we're riding on board, now with Josh, Joshua Wood. Elliott Hall is making a run for this championship right now, and he's got some talent as mentorship. Let me just remind everybody that not only is he teammates with Kevin Jacobs, but he is also the nephew of Toby Byrne, and so he has had two mentors, a teammate, and of course a family relative that has been teaching this kid, and it has showed. He's had multiple pole positions. He's got a few wins so far, and he is leading this championship by 30 points coming into this race over Jack Tolchard. So Elliott's going to be one to watch here as we take a look at, oh, Josh getting a little Tokyo Drift, and we see somebody locking up. Looked like either Toby Byrne or Gareth Lennon locked up, and that's going to check up everybody now. So Lennon's going to be under pressure from Byrne. Byrne's going to be behind, under pressure from Josh Martin, and Josh Martin's teammate of Jack Tolchard is going to be coming behind him. And we know how crazy the Simstaff boys would go between each other, as they've had a few comings together every so often, as Tolchard gets a little slideways going out of that corner here behind him. And it looks like we're going to be taking a few pit stops now, as Craig Evans is going to be the first of the NLR boys. It's weird because with Zach being in the lead, he normally would get the first dibs, but it looks like they have elected to pick Craig first. So going to try to maybe undercut his teammate. So, John, what do you think of these pit stops? Are we going to see some movers and shakers? Do you think what's going to happen?
I think we're definitely going to see some swaps here. Look at Swader's gap. I mean, he's got an 8-second gap. Like, he is pushing that car to the max right now, and he's in the zone. Like, you can't, really stop a driver who's really flowing with the track today. It seems to be his day. But, these pit stops are definitely going to shuffle up a lot of people. And look, we have Swader wondering why he has Craig, pitting first, and then let's see what happens, The pace is there. I think he just needs to keep confidence in his team and, just push forward. But it looks like a really good battle here between 11th and 14th. They're getting a little held up with each other, but with these pit stops, I think a lot of shuffling is going to go on, and let's see how this plays out with this next round pit stop. Back to you, Zach.
And yeah, Craig got in front of these two right now, so he's going to be in a bit of some traffic, and so I don't think Zach needs to be kind of panicking so far, because you see the traffic that Craig ended up getting into. So I'm wondering if that was a good call to try to undercut or bring Craig in first here, as we see a gaggle of cars all the way through, as we see some more pit stops as Ed Cantwell comes into the pits right now as well. I believe he's the only one on this lap so far, according to the timing board. So Ed Cantwell pits from second, but so far Zach is still being in the race lead so far, but net race second, as Craig McDonald has pulled a Lewis Hamilton, as I believe he's close to where Lewis Hamilton went off back in that race in 2019 with the rain, and he is going to be into the wall and out of this race. So I'm wondering what happened there, but definitely pull a Lewis Hamilton, as Craig is not happy with this, and this VSC is not going to help him either, so to speak, because everybody in front of him could get a free pit stop. It just depends on where everybody was on the track. But he's not happy with the team bringing him in early, because you saw a lot of traffic comes up. And so here we go, Craig McDonald. We'll see where he went off. And like I said, this is pretty much the same exact spot that Lewis Hamilton went off in 2019. And not to the T, but pretty much almost the exact same spot that where Lewis Hamilton and I believe Charles Leclerc went off, and something stuck in the throttle. So it could be something, as you can hear. Yeah, the engine is still going. Throttle could have hung or something. So, yeah, that's the unfortunate circumstances for Craig McDonald. So he's going to be out of this race here, as the mechanics are going to be cleaning up a lot of gravel out of that cockpit, because the throttle was just completely stuck. As we're back to green now, and Kevin Jacobs is looking like he's going to get a massive jump on Spencer. He got like he shot out of a cannon, and is he going to get a 2-for-1 on the other Benson car? And that's Jonathan Carrera in front of him, as he's going to be side by side with Elliott Hall, as Elliott Hall seems like he's made a pit stop as well. So Elliott Hall pitted from third, so he is actually going to be making some pit stops. And actually, Kevin Jacobs is going to slam into the wall. That's Elliott Hall's teammate. Kevin Jacobs took a massive spin coming out of that corner. So, but he seems to be recovering nicely. So, but he's got some very bad suspension damage here. As you can take a look at the steering wheel, it's kicked off to the left. He's trying to keep it straight, so hopefully he can get it back to the pits, but don't know what happened with that one. I don't know if he just lost grip or something, trying to recover after that BSC, but he definitely took a win for a head spin there, John.
Yeah, he definitely went for a ride on that one. Real bad suspension damage, not including the flat spots on those tires. Hopefully he can make it back to pit lane, and can recover that damage. But look at Josh Martin. He's putting the pressure on Prevere. I mean, he is pushing that vehicle right now. Let's see if he can, maintain this pressure on him and see if he can take a dive. Oh, is he going to dive on the inside? Nah, he could not make the gap right there. But he's applying the pressure on him hard. He's breathing down his neck. Oh, wait, can we get a nice little race here where they're going, they're going to push as hard as they can. Oh, and here we go, Elliott Hall on board, Ooh, both two teammates right next to each other, Reinhardt, Eckert, they're, pushing each other to the max, and this is going to be a nice little battle here between 9th, 10th, and 11th. And look at the amount of cars pulling behind a little truly train going on here. But, let's see how it goes, and back to you, Zach.
Yeah, we saw a couple of look like Gareth Lennon and, of course, there we go, Colin McAllister. I was just about to bring up is we got a CGM Motorsport 2x2 right now. Is Colin had to give way to Gareth. I don't know if he's going to be happy about that. And we all know how aggressive Gareth can be sometimes. Gareth Lennon is probably one of the hardest defenders to try to pass when it comes to trying to overtake, and definitely don't think he's going to let his teammate by that easy. He doesn't care if he's teammates or not. He's like, I'm in front of you. I'm the faster guy right now. Give me the space. And Colin did have to check up there. So going through the field so far, the only people that I don't think have actually pitted has been, of course, Zach Swader in the lead. He still hasn't pitted. I don't think Andrew's pitted. I don't think Josh Martin or Olive Odvin have pitted. So I believe the top 5 so far have not pitted, as, of course, the person who did pit out of the top 5 is, of course, Craig Evans, as he's currently about almost 1.5, almost 1 second lead. Actually 1 second deficit behind the McDonald car. So as we take a look, and we talked about Elliott Hall, he has been on an absolute train. I mean, he had a rough time in Malaysia. I think he crashed out in that one, but he's won in Japan. He came second in Bahrain, and of course he has won in last time out at the Brno circuit in the Czech Republic. And of course, he is leading the championship as Toby Byrne is going to try to make a move on Jack Tolchard. It's going to swing across the outside, and it looks like finally they're going to bring Zach in. So he's got a 20-second lead over Andrew Previer, so he should be in good shape, as far as that. So we will see what the pit stops do for Zach Swader. Of course, we did have the VSC, so that's going to create a little bit of a gap so where he can try to hopefully maintain the lead. But we'll see if he comes out still ahead. So we're looking toward the back end of the field now. That's Kevin Jacobs and Christian Braslov having a bit of a scrap, as it looks like both Josh Martin, Andrew Previer, and of course Olav Oppin. So this is going to bring, it looks like it's going to bring Craig back up into the points, being behind Zach. So I think Zach is already pitted. I think I'm trying to have a look at the timing board here, but massive lockup right there from Ed Cantwell. As we go through, we're on lap 11 right now. Yeah, I believe Zach has pitted because Craig has got a 17-second lead. It was down to like 20-something. So, yeah, I believe Zach has already pitted. If not, he should be coming on soon. So let's take a look at Elliott Hall. He's going to bring on another one of his foes. He's going to be Reinhard Eckert. I'm going to make the clean, going to shove Reinhard out a little bit wide, as he is trying to maintain all he can to try to maintain the points lead right now. And this will do some big dividends right now, as he is coming to try to get onto the podium. Has a couple more spots to grab, as Toby Byrne and Jack Tolchard are having another scrap. It's like Toby's going to make the move on the outside, and actually that was Douglas Anderson for the move right there, as Dougie kind of had a little bit of a wheel hop coming to the corner here, and that was slowed him down just a little bit. So a lot of shaking around, John. I think as we're starting to get into the end here, John, any more moves you think is going to happen, or you think this is probably going to be where everybody finishes?
Nah, there's going to be some moves here. They're really applying the pressure to each other. Look at Jack Tolchard. He's really putting pressure on this following car right in front of him, and his teammate's right behind him, Josh Martin's here, he's going to apply pressure on his teammate, but they also got to work in tandem so they can maintain their points, they don't want to take each other out, have another, have another incident like, we saw Lewis with his teammate back in Mercedes when Nico Rosberg, pushing each other, and then, collateral happens. Oh, we have a yellow flag. We have a track hazard. I wonder where that's appearing on track, that, we have to slow down the cars. Curious if any body work or anything flew off anybody with these battles that are going on. It's so intense right now. And, let's see how it keeps going. I mean, playing out, Swader has a 14-second gap. I mean, this man has been on fire today. He has been pushing that car to his limits. And, let's see how it goes, and, hopefully, we get a little bit more shuffles here, make it a little bit more interesting for this points championship. And back to you, Zach.
And what's definitely interesting right now is the two sim staff cars. They have been prone to come in contact with each other in the past, and they are trying not to do that again, as of course both Jack Tolchard and Josh Martin have been going side by side, and they're behind. It looked like a slow Dougie in front of them, so they might get caught up into that one. As we take a look back through the rest of the field now, Ron, we're watching Andrew Previer, as of course he had pitted from second, but he fell back down to sixth through his pit stop. But yeah, the two sim staff cars have known to come in contact with each other, but it looks like they're trying not to make that happen again, as I believe they came in contact twice last season. So they're definitely not trying to make that here happen again, as Andrew Previer is in between Toby Byrne and Elliott Hall, so he's in between the two family members. As a little bit of a lockup right there. I don't know who that was. And Ola Bodvin trying to make a move on Gareth Lennon, as we talked about how aggressive Gareth is when it comes to defending. Nearly made the Norwegian spin out, as it looks like the Norwegian's going to make the move on the Northern Irishman. He's coming out the outside corner. He might get the run, and yes, he does. What a fantastic move from Ola Bodvin. He's making his mark against one of the heaviest defenders in the AIC of Gareth Lennon. What a fantastic move, and that's going to put Gareth under pressure now from Joshua Wood as they come into the hairpin corner, and Josh is going to even get a little bit of aggressive. So seems like Gareth is getting a taste of his own medicine so far, as he's got it out shoved twice now in the single lap, as he loses his places to both Olad Bodvin as Joshua Wood. But he's going to make a move on Josh, and almost takes Josh out, but they recover nicely. I don't think Josh is going to be too happy about that one, but this is the type of racing that Gareth is known for. He's aggressive. He will make you work for it, as whatever that yellow flag was now should be cleaned up right now. Actually, I take that back here. Looks like another yellow flag here, possible something. Everybody kind of slowed up, but we're back under green now. Bunch of local yellows and whatnot, but we should be back full course green at the moment, so no need for safety car, as it looks like Gareth Lennon finally got actually no, take that back, Joshua Wood finally got around Gareth Lennon here through all that slowdown. So hopefully there was no overtaking under the yellow there. That was a local yellow that I think they went through here. But with just 2 laps to go, John, it looks like Zach is going to make a massive win here, as he is 25 seconds ahead here, as actually something has happened to Craig Evans. I don't know what has happened with him, as he has fell down all the way down into the pit. So I'm wondering if that could have been one of the local yellows. But if that's the case, that could be a tough break, John. So I have to see. Toby Byrne just absolutely annihilated his nephew, and that is going to bring pressure up against the sim staff cars. And I don't know what happened with that one, John. It looked like Toby absolutely annihilated Elliott into the hairpin, as Elliott could be trying to find some grip here. What happened, John?
It looked like he tried to just dive into the corner. He dived in really quickly, and he just ended up making contact with him. It didn't look like it was just hard racing, but we got to see if there's going to be any penalty consequences for Byrne here, and we'll see what happens. It's real intense racing. It's the last lap. Really trying to push each other hard here. And what happened to Craig Evans? I mean, it's like that's just a tough break. He was doing really great today. He had a great car, and just, it had to be one of the local yellows, because he fell down that board so quickly and tumbled. I mean, let's see what we get his, opinion, and see how it goes from there, But this battle for this last lap, they are pushing. But it looks like our man Zach Swader is the man of the day. Odvin, he was about to go in. He was about to try to take that position. But, he backed off, and they're just trying really hard here to get this final lap. But, it looks like Zach Swader's the driver of the day, because that man was moving with that vehicle today. I mean, you got to give him a round of applause for this performance, because that gap is insane. And it's been great racing overall. A little lock up there, but let's see how this played out this last lap. Back to you, Zach.
Indeed, as we take a look at the rest of the field, Jack Tolchard trying to stay ahead of what looks like Colin McAllister now, as Colin's making his move right here. But yeah, is everybody getting slideways? So yeah, unfortunate incident between Toby Byrne and Elliott Hall. That's going to be a very interesting conversation at the Christmas dinner here. But one conversation that is definitely going to be a positive during Christmas dinner, and that is going to be Zach Swader. We talked about him having a very rough season after being runner-up to Christian Vrazilov last season. He's had a miserable season so far, but he is going to be happy to take the complete and absolute sweep from pole, and has led pretty much every single lap today. He is going to win the ISR AIC at Hockenheim Ring. He's going to be absolutely fantastic. Going to be gutted that he couldn't do it with Craig standing on the next step here. But whatever happened to Craig, hopefully we find out what happened here toward the end of the race. But as we take a look at everybody else, it's going to be, of course, Zach Swader taking the win, Ed Cantwell second, and Andrew Revere getting on the third place podium. But I know one thing, Zach has made some last minute charges before. He did it last season. He could be doing it again here for the Hockenheim ring here as we take a look. So this is actually what happened to Craig as we're taking a look back behind who that is behind him. I don't know if there's contact, and see what happens here as, I don't know if there's those flames out of the, just had a massive rear end spin. Oh man, I wonder, so I could be right. My initial thought was he could have had some, I wonder if the engine went, and there was some oil, and that's what happened to the car behind him. Let's see what happened with Reinhard Egger. So he's behind Craig. As I don't know if the suspension broke or he had an engine failure and leaked oil, but that's very unfortunate for Reinhard being behind him to take us. So something must have happened. I don't know what that was. Very interesting. A very unusual crash here. Here's what happened. This is what I'm interested in. So see Toby Byrne seeing the scrap, and Elliott gets loose right in front. I believe that's either Josh Wood or Andrew Preview. I think that's Josh Wood ahead of them, as he is going to get a 5-place collision for what you're about to see right here. So they're going side by side into the hairpin, as Toby's going to try to make a move on the inside of Elliott, and he just gets a little bit ambitious trying to make the move that just wasn't on, because there was still a lot of room at the bottom there. But all in all, not sure what happened. So yeah, that's definitely going to be an interesting conversation during Christmas, John.
Oh yeah, for sure. He got, Elliott got a little bit loose there and through that corner. I think he just, he maintained his line. He was just trying to keep his position, and there goes, this corner is going to be really tough here. And, I don't think he expected the car to be on the inside of him, especially his, had being his uncle, and, causing a bunch of little minor collisions here. But, he recovered very well. But unfortunately, that's going to cost Hall, a nice little amount of points here, a little bit, suspension damage probably there. But, overall, it was a great race, you have Zach Swader first, Ed Cantwell second, Andrew Prevere third, a very great podium right here. It's a great day for Zach to celebrate. And, back to you, Zach.
Yeah, definitely. Zach is going to be absolutely happy with this one as he gets the win and, of course, the complete sweep with the pole here. As, of course, Ed Cantwell and Andrew Revere are going to be joining him on the podium. So a good race for those three. Toby Byrne does manage to finish fourth after wiping out his nephew for the spot here. And Josh Martin's going to be behind him in fifth with Doug Lee Anderson and, of course, Elliott Hall, who got spun, rounded out in seventh with Jack Tolchar, Colin McAllister, Olaf Hoffman finishing out the top 10, and Joshua Wood coming down into the 11th place here. About to flip through to the rest of the standings so far here. That's going to be some good overhaul points for the top podium positions here, especially for Andrew Prevere. Interesting enough for him, he is all the way down in 15th. So this is going to be a very good points haul for him, scoring 15 points here. So that's going to give him a good boost job, as Ed Cantwell is going to actually move up a little bit higher as well, as he is sitting in 7th. So he's going to be putting his name into the championship with his second place here. So looking through the rest of half the field, Tom McDonald and Gareth Lennon in 12th and 13th, Colin Spencer 14th, Philip Blum 15th, Jonathan Carrero 16th, and Christian Braslov 17th. And then the ones that had the DNFs here, Kevin Jacobs, Craig Evans, Reinhard Ecker, Craig McDonald, and Marcus Townend, all having DNFs, and especially a tough break for Craig Evans, as he was on to have a NLR 1-2 lockout with Zach taking the win. But unfortunately for him, he had a issue with the car, something broke, and that of course had instances behind him. So as we take a look at the point standings as well here, Elliott Hall does maintain his point standings even with a bit of a disappointing finish today with 86 points. Jack Tolchar behind him with 54 points, and Ed Cantwell with his podium bumped him up to third place. He was 7th. So he has definitely made his mark, and to put him into perspective to try to fight for this championship. Marcus Townend and Craig McDonald separated by 4th, but just 1 point with Olaf Hoffman in 6th, Joshua Wood 7th, Josh Martin 8th in the point standings, and a tie for 9th and 10th here for 9th places, of course, Andrew Prevere and Toby Byrne, respectively. So with that being said, though, of course, Zach with the win because of his miserable season so far and only having just a handful of points, if not 1 point so far, he will not be in the top 10, but he will be gaining some ground, trying to maintain some momentum, and hopefully maybe put his name into the championship conversation along with the rest of this first half of the points. So Still a few races, John. What can we expect?
Well, I think it's going to be a toss-up. Look at that. Zach squared up at 11th. He's come to field massive here. You got Razaloff, and his teammate Douglas Anderson taking up 12 and 13. Got, Ecker here, 14 to 20 points. Craig Evans here, 16 points. He could have been really high if he didn't get unfortunate DNF today. Could have definitely been easily in the top 10. And you got, Gareth the Wall Lennon here with CJ Motorsports. He's taking up with 14 points. Kevin Jacobs here, fortunate for him with his DNF. And then you got Cal Spencer, he's got 10 points, he's trying to keep his team alive here and all that. And then Tom McDowell here and, 19th. And then you got Blumfish out the top 20 here, And then you have Colin McAllister with 3 points, every point matters in this championship. And then you got Jonathan Carrero, he's dead last. Unfortunately, he's had a really rough season. He won a few races last season, seasons prior to that, but it just seems like the car's not for him today, But, hopefully he makes a recovery and, you see where things go from here. But, that's your rounding out the standings here, though. So, back to you, Zach.
Yeah, Jonathan's still the only person left to score a point. It was just him and Zach, but Zach has some points finishes in the win today. We'll get him into the points. So take a look at the team standings right here. Nemesis Racing with 99 points ahead of SimStaff here, and SimStaff had a decent finish today. They actually didn't collide with each other, so they're going to be looking at a good points haul after today, and that puts them 88 points in the second, right in front of Scuderia Italia RN at 74 points, with Team Disconnect in fourth with 71 points. JR Mobile 1 in fifth with 66 points. Josh will actually be happy about that because that's his actual racing number. Behind them is Macca Motorsports with 50 points, ART West at 46 points. Bit of a tight roof between 7th and 9th. Each one of them has 46 to 43 points with ART, Norwegian American, and Northern Lights. Northern Lights could have had a bigger points haul today. Unfortunately, Craig had the DNF. Even with Zach's win, that could have been a massive good point standings for them, but they would just have to settle for the 25 points with Zach's win today. CGM Motorsports behind them with 17 points, and Benson and Hedges JSR with both John and Spen not having a fantastic season so far. So, John, final thoughts into the season. What are you looking for the rest of the season?
We're looking for some great racing here. I mean, these next few rounds are going to really determine things. I mean, Nemesis Racing and SimStaff, 11 points. I mean, any finish here can really change this, Constructors Championship. And then, having Scuderia behind them, things are going to be great. But you know what? This racing season is going to be really good. And, let's see what these next rounds, show off. Because, look, anything can happen. Craig Evans, second, DNF. Well, back to you, Zach, and, it's been a great race.
It was indeed a good race. Zach Swader taking the win, finally getting on the top step podium after having a miserable season. He's looking to try to recover, but Zach Swader is going to take your win here in Germany here. But until next time, everybody, have a good one, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.